Greetings, hunters, and welcome back to another episode of Shattered Ice Plays The Hunters 1492. So, after we captured that werewolf in the last episode, we are back in Pensburg, and it is now day 13, which means Event A is now unlocked. Event A, I believe, was another job for Peter down at the Long Market. And we've spent a lot of time doing work for Peter. So I'm not sure if we are going to do that just yet. Although I do kind of want to see where his story goes. Well, we'll see what he has to say. And we'll decide from there. So, we're going to begin at the Long Market. Now, just before I do anything else, Wilhelm got hit with 2 mighty attacks in the last turn, so his brigandine was damaged for 2 points of defence, so we're going to need to spend 2 ducats to fix that, which leaves us with a total supply of 3 ducats. The quest is starting to get a little bit tougher. That werewolf did us some serious damage, to say how little time we spent fighting it. So I'm wanting to use some of the experience we've got to upgrade our health. So Wilhelm has 9 experience. And according to his board, if we spend 5 experience to move this token up, his max health is now 8. Now, to my understanding, the way this is worded in the rules, you increase both tokens, which I think it means when you level up your health, you go back to maximum health. That's my understanding from the way it's worded anyway. I could be wrong. If anybody knows for sure, let me know. And in future, I will make sure to do that correctly. But it does seem that it explicitly says to move both tokens up. So we're going to put him on 8 health, and we will mark that one as an upgraded stat. Now, we're also going to upgrade Friedrich, but whether we upgrade Friedrich's health, I'm not too sure yet. We're going to take a look at his action cards. His most expensive card is 15, and that gives him a heal 3, move or parting link to and interact. Wow, that reaction's amazing. If your ally on your space or on any adjacent space suffered more than 1 damage during this activity, they suffer 1 damage instead. So that doesn't matter how powerful the attack is, they will only take 1 damage. That's incredible. And then it's a good action as well with heal 3, move 2 and interact. This card is just so powerful. I think we're going to spend 15 experience on this card. It's just ridiculously good. So that does put his experience all the way down to 1, but he's probably got the most useful ability he's ever going to have. So we now have Wilhelm on 4 experience and Friedrich on 1. So let's take a look at this. So the time token no longer locks it, and we can see what story 13 is. Oh, it was the captain of the guards. It wasn't Peter, was it? The door to the house belonging to the captain of the guards slightly opens, and warm light spills outside into the night. A young, curly-haired lass appears. "Lady, may all blessings be upon you. Is Captain August Bayer home? The Duke sends us." So, 1601.
"Welcome. My father is at home. Please, come inside, leave your coats and make yourselves comfortable."
Miss Bayer is interrupted by a hoarse shout coming from inside the house. "Louisa, what devil's bothering us this late? Them beggars, toss 'em a penny and throw 'em out." The echo of these words can still be heard, but the person who just spoke them is already with you. It's a well-built middle-aged man clad in a carelessly untied gambeson. He's holding a huge roasted leg of lamb. The meat is dripping with warm fat. It seems he's just started the evening feast. "We come from Duke. Can you spare a moment, sir?" "Ha, guests, and noble at that. I was told you might come to me humble home. Come, Louisa, bring us some meat and ale if you please." You sit around a stout wooden table. Soon, the tasty smell of roasted meat is permeating everywhere. A moment later, the host's daughter joins you at the table, adding something from time to time to the conversation. Place the following cards face down in front of you. Okay, so it's another conversation. Okay, so we'll start with August Bear. Let's talk to him. So, what you want to know? And call me August. No need for fancy titles. So we've got, tell us about attacks at Beast. How did it all start? B, can you remember any details that might be useful? Okay, so we need to ask him that. And then C, what are typical problems that the guards must tackle, besides the Beast, that is? Let's start with that. Let's ask him about his work. So 1604.
Well, you know the times, right? The usual problems of common men that any guard can handle, and the damn mist fiends. Let the mist settle somewhere more than a short while, and you get some filthy abominations spawning like rabbits. Ruined wagons, slaughtered animals, dead men. Evil monsters they are, but no one knows for sure. We've killed our share of mist fiends, but you can't even come close to one's carcass. The stench is unbearable. Who knows? Maybe these are poisonous vapours. Maybe they bring plague. Damn devils, I tell ye.
Okay, so let's ask him, tell us about attacks at Beast. How did all this start? 1602.
The first mist was found 7, maybe 8 weeks ago. A young lad he was, a shepherd from a nearby village. At first, we thought wolves had gotten him, but with more dead piling up, the Master of Hounds investigated the sites of the attacks. There was no doubt something bigger was to blame. A few dozen people have died since then. We find a new corpse twice or thrice a week. There have been hunts, but no catch, all in vain, not a trace of the monster. Now people are afraid to leave their homes. They only feel safe behind thick walls or stout oak doors, and the damn mist, thicker than ever these days, makes me job harder. Maybe Soar has less power than before.
Okay, and then, can you remember any details that might be useful?
1603. I write down everything that witnesses or survivors of the attacks say. Each case is different. Sometimes 'tis a quick kill by one heavy blow. Sometimes a poor bastard is dragged for half a mile through the forest before they perish. The beast is strong and nimble beyond human comprehension. No doubt about that. It can even jump into a dozen pace deep ravine. Laying traps bore no fruit, so we stopped doing that. Maybe 'tis just animal instinct. Maybe that abomination is smarter than my stable boy. 'Tis a demon, a thing of flesh and blood, that I don't know, and neither does any of my men. Maybe you should speak to them doctors who check the corpses. I saw what they scribbled after one of the attacks. Lot to learn, lot to draw. 'Tis what they did. Really impressive. A simpler man than myself might think 'tis what they call a book.
Place S14 face up on location 5 and gain 1 clue. Okay, so we'll place S14 face up on there. We can have a look at that later. And then we gain 1 clue. Okay, and that's everything we can ask August about. So let's ask his daughter.
Please ask if you think I can help. I know not about martial things, but I can always tell you more about the local faith.
Okay. Who is the Sword of Fire? 1605.
Soar of Fire is the protector of our town. Some call him a demon, but the priests say he's a real god, and that people have worshipped him around here from time immemorial. Even before the oldest chronicles mention him. He saved us from the ruin when the sinister mist flowed around Penzberg. We survived, while much grander cities, such as Bamberg or Nuremberg, fell in the face of the nameless terror. Their steel weapons, gunpowder and Christian prayers, all were in vain. Now wolves howl among the chewed bones of their denizens, but Soar is no kind-hearted deity, and his power requires sacrifice. The Duke agrees to pay the price, but many consider him a fool. I heard that a few days' ride from our town there is an old monastery. People say it survived too, despite staying faithful to its patron, St. John. So maybe there are other ways to keep us safe. Who knows?
And then we will also ask her, we heard that your deity demands human sacrifices. Is this true?
1606. Yes, 'tis true. No reason to be proud of. Every 2 weeks, 3 chosen are thrown into the Eye of Soar. The priests preach that 'tis real horror for the chosen and their families, and the Duke pays in gold for the chosen, so you can find many who'd offer their children to sow rather than see them work in the fields. Nothing for me to judge.
Wow, okay, so that's pretty horrible. I'm not sure how I feel about saving this town anymore. It's like throwing children into a demon pit. After asking all, so we've asked them both everything we can. We've turned up a clue, and we have now got this to investigate at location 5. We were at the Long Market, weren't we? We're going to head up to location 5. So when we move there, we need to see if we get a town event. And we do. So we get our town cards and we draw from the bottom. Salve. Hey there, pretty lads. Old Elga's got something for ye. You see a wide, toothless grin on the face of an old woman wrapped in black robes. Come closer, dear. Fear me not. Want some of this wondrous salve? You can have a whole jar for 1 silver coin. She dabs her fingers in a yellow, sticky and smelly substance and presents it to you. Just smear a cut, wound or swelling with it, and 'tis as good as gone, soon enough. Despite the horrible smell of the salve, you feel that you can trust this woman. You buy 1 jar. For half a ducat. Yeah, go on, for half a ducat. We'll buy it, why not? So we'll give her 1 ducat, and she will give us half a ducat change. And then option A. The old woman takes a potion of the salve with her fingers from a special pot and carefully puts some into a small jar. You have to bear the horrible, omnipresent stench for the whole time. Then she closes the jar with a cork, hands it to you, and takes your money. Remember, smear well and leave a thick coat. It's good for all kinds of wounds besides burns. Don't smear it on burns, lest ye want to make it worse. Well, off you go. Other clients are waiting. You gain a healing infusion. Okay, the hero who adds this item to their inventory immediately loses 2 morale due to the horrible smell always accompanying them. Oh, that's horrible. But we do get a healing salve, or healing infusion. So we are going to give this healing infusion to Wilhelm, because he's the one who does most of the fighting. He's going to take most of the damage. It's basically a health potion for +4 health. But we do have to reduce our morale by 2. So Wilhelm's morale goes down to 0. And then we arrive at location 5. So let's see what is happening at the medic. A small church located close to the town walls has been converted into an infirmary. Its naves accommodate a few dozen mattresses, while former chapels and other adjoining rooms are used to store goods. A young lad, probably an aide to one of the felchers, takes you to his master. 17.01. You squeeze between rows of moaning and wailing patients who occupy most of the beds. Someone on the other side of a white sheet hung from a tall rack is screaming at the top of their lungs. The smell of piss and sweat permeates the air. Jonas, that's the name of your guide, takes you to a spacious room located in the west wing of the cathedral. You notice an old man sitting at the desk. A fat tome is placed in front of him, and the man is busy copying its fragments to separate sheets. His wrinkled hands are bathed in sunlight, filtered through the remnants of a blood-stained glass window. The rest of the room is hidden in darkness, dozens of bookshelves full of tomes and manuscripts. The boy approaches the old man and whispers something in his ear. What? Who? From the Duke? Come closer, children. The old man rises up from behind the table and makes a few steps toward you, leaning on his aide's shoulder. Is it true what Jonas speaks? The Duke sent you? It's good that our Lord remembers the infirmary, as I can't recollect the last time he helped us with alms, or at least kind words. We do what we can, but all help counts. Maybe you can act on his behalf and offer the support he's unwilling to bestow upon us. We are in dire need of certain rare herbs that cannot be found anywhere nearby. They heal long spells of cough and night sweating, and many of our patients suffer from these conditions. Please, bring them to me, and I will gather enough strength to search the archives for you and find what's necessary. Jonas shows you on the map the ruins of Andech's monastery and its vicinity. Right there, among wet grass and shady places, you should find the herbs called
Brigus. They have yellow flowers and long thin leaves. A tall man, resembling a beanstalk, runs after you once you leave the infirmary. He's one of the physicians. Wait! He comes closer, barely able to catch his breath. I'm Oscar. I work in the infirmary you've just left. Please, listen to me before you embark upon this ridiculous quest. Looking for herbs might be noble and all, but who can afford losing time for such horse shit? I have access to the whole infirmary archive, and I can bring you everything you need, even today. I just need some money. With that, I'll be able to buy new medicines for the most ill. Okay, so we have a choice here. You ignore him and go looking for the herbs. Place story card 19 face up on M02. B. You pay for information. Discard 13 ducats. We don't even have 13 ducats. You try to negotiate the price for information. Okay, we're going to try and negotiate the price, see if we can get that down. Maybe we can pay him later, or pay him with 2.5 ducats. Well, that's doubtful. Any hero tests brain 3. Okay, so of course, we will have Friedrich do that. And with a 3, Friedrich passes that handily. So A, pass, 1704. All right, I can settle for 10 ducats, but I regret to hear that you're so cruel as to bargain over our patient's health. What a horrible world we live in. No one cares about their neighbours anymore. Oscar is true to his word. A few hours later, you have a full collection of notes, drawings, sketches, and measurements taken wherever the attacks happened. There's also a leather bag with tufts of fur. This wealth of knowledge will surely prove invaluable. Okay, the testing hero gains an experience, and you gain clue 2. But I don't have 10 ducats to give him. Okay, I'm kind of confused by them. I don't think I should be able to do that. I think they kind of messed up a little bit there, that it doesn't tell you to do 10 ducats. And if you don't have 10 ducats, then you can't do it. So, unfortunately, I'm going to go back and I'm going to ignore that. Because it doesn't seem right. So instead, our only option is to do A. So we ignore him and go looking for the herbs. So place S19 face up on M02. Alright guys, so we are back. And I've decided our best course of action is probably to head down here. Because in 2 days' time, this card's going to become available. And we are currently on day 13. And this is day 15. So, I think what we're going to do is we're going to explore a bit more of the map. And we're going to head down here, we're going to head this way, and then we're going to head down to here. So, the first thing we are going to do is take our wagon and travel down here. And this is an Act 2 map card. So we need to roll to see if we get a road event. And we do. So this will be a level 2 road event. So we'll give these a shuffle first. And then we draw from the bottom. So we've got Young Earl. As you pass a wooded gorge lining the road, you keep unsheathed blades in your hands. The gorge is filled with thick mist, climbing up its slopes, sticking its wet fingers between sparse trees and reaching in some places as far as the road. There's something inside. A wolf? No, a child. You stop the wagon. A moment later, a small, maybe 12-year-old girl walks out of the vapour. She's skinny, her hair unkempt, her face bloodied. She wears only a simple linen dress.
Mummy is dead. Daddy too, I think, and my sis...
Where are they? What's your name, child? Where's your home? Maybe we could save someone.
They're in the mist, close by.
Oh dear. Okay. So we've got option A. Take us there. We'll check if anyone is still alive. Follow the girl. B. Listen, child. Come with us. No point returning into mist. There's nothing there but fear and tears. Well, that's probably right. I mean, she's probably lucky to have escaped, unless she's some kind of a trick by the mist trying to lure us in. But I do A. I'm probably going to regret it. You descend into the gorge using a narrow path in its slope. Once at the bottom, you follow a rushing stream,
all the time staying in the mist. A few hundred paces further, the gorge opens into a wider vale where the hut is located, along with a few other farm buildings. The door of the house is wide open. You cautiously peek inside. 61.01. A few bodies are scattered around the main room. You approach to examine them. It looks as though a wild animal got inside and slaughtered everyone, tearing apart the throats of 3 people lying on the floor. The daughter catches your attention. Her hands have only 3 fingers. You hear the door slowly closing. Looking back, you see the girl's eyes turn jet black and her fingers elongate a little. You tighten your grips on your weapons and step back. Well, I should have seen this coming. You attack her, a battle cry on your lips. Or B. Child, everything is fine. Calm down. We can still cure you. Oh god, well, it doesn't seem like that'd be a good answer to give. But that's the answer I'm going to give. So we're going to go with B. And try and tell her we can still cure her. 61.03. The girl hesitates for a moment, and the blackness in her eyes fades. A new sound, resembling growling or scraping, comes from outside. The child sniffs the air like a dog and runs out of the hut, disappearing into the mist. You've heard that animals born in the mist can be changelings, rats with insect eyes, wolves with reptilian snouts. Perhaps the same is true with humans. Who knows what happens to those who survive the coming of the mist and adapt, especially those who choose to serve darker gods. Each hero gains 1 XP, which puts Wilhelm up to 5 and Friedrich up to 3. Okay, so that's our event card done. Worked out quite nicely, and we are now at Verdenfels Castle. So the only thing we've got here to do is take a look at this S10. So let's have a look at this. You can hear peculiar sounds from afar, but the closer you come to the Master of Hounds' abode, the more unnerving they become. They remind you of purring, children's laughter, and a piercing hiss all at the same time. You pass through a gate made of wrought iron and stand in the centre of a courtyard in front of a sprawling stronghold called the Verdenfels Castle. Okay, so F001. So F001 is Andreas von Eagle, and this is the Master of Hounds for the Duke. Visiting the Master of Hounds. Your host is standing on the doorstep at the top of a tall set of stairs. He's wearing a crimson beret adorned with heron feathers. Welcome, I am Andreas von Eagle, the Duke's Master of Hounds. Please dine with me, though it's nothing fancy. Also, you might visit my magnificent menagerie. I can assure you it's worth your time. After exchanging the casual courtesies, you sit in a large hall with a glass ceiling and join your host during the meal. It's a very pleasurable time. Now, let's drink some wine and talk. The man claps his hands, and the servants take away the plates. Soon, they return with cups and decanters full of red wine. Nothing like sweet liquor after a decent meal. What brings you here? Time to talk about important matters? So we've got A. People say that you've already tried to hunt beast. Can you tell us anything about it? B. Do you have any suspicions as to the beast's nature? Or C. Let's see menagerie you've told us about. Okay, let's have a look at his menagerie first. So we'll go to 13.03. Of course, I proposed it myself after all. You follow your host beyond the mansion walls. Once you pass the threshold, the sounds you heard before grow louder. As far as you can see, the yard is full of huge cages and walled pens. The Master of Hounds guides you between them, telling stories about the most extraordinary animals. You see creatures you've never heard of or dreamt about. At some point, a few beasts approach the bars. They're human-like. One could say they resemble men, but they are covered in thick fur, have tails and elongated limbs. They seem to be the source of earlier sounds, which resembled a child's cry. These are Heinrich and Malcolm, the pride of my collection. Can you imagine they understand commands, just like human children? They can also climb even the highest tree quicker than you run. Maybe the Duke could recruit 2 or 3 of those for his scouts. Haha, I have to work on their training a little harder. You wish to enter the cage? Pet them, maybe? Why not? They're fascinating. Or B, no thank you, we need to leave. You don't want your host to see it, but somehow you don't feel like getting any closer to these devils. No, he says they're trained. I'm going to trust him, maybe to my detriment. So we're going to go to 13.04.
One of the menagerie keepers opens the cage and lets you inside. The beasts are rather bold. They don't shy away. On the contrary, they come closer and start to pull at your clothes gently, watching you attentively. One of them reaches with its furry arm toward the cage entrance. Is it trying to tell you something? The animal starts to shout in excitement, jumping around, then lies on the ground, wraps itself in its long arms, and stops moving. A moment later, it springs up and points at the entrance again. Maybe it wants to be freed. Maybe it is showing this is its prison. So we have a choice again. A. Herr von Eagle, maybe you could reward us with these two creatures. We'd much appreciate it. We can pay too. You can't pay a lot. B. Unwilling to waste any more time, you leave the cage, you bid your host farewell and leave the mansion. Oh dear. We've kind of cornered ourselves here. So we're gonna see how much he wants to sell them to us for, if he'll sell them. So 13.05. Heinrich and Malcolm are not for sale. I hope to achieve a lot with them. Also, I think it's time for us to end our meeting. Wonderful as 'twas. Duty calls. I'll show you the way out of my mansion. The creatures look at you with sadness, pressing their faces to the bars and watching you disappear on the other side of the mansion. Okay, so each hero loses 1 morale. So that's really bad for us, because that puts Wilhelm to -1 morale. So he loses -1 from all of his statistics, I believe. And Friedrich goes down to just having the 1 morale. And we have a choice. You plan to return in the night and try to free them. Ooh, that's interesting. +1 day. Ooh, or maybe one day you return here. But for now, ooh, no, I kind of want to do that. Yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to try and free them. That's I'm very curious about that. So 13.06. When it gets dark, you head to the menagerie. The huge cages have a truly ghastly look now, bathed in moonlight. You jump over the wall and approach Heinrich and Malcolm's pen. The beasts around you start to make louder and louder sounds as they feel that something strange is happening. You can hear howling, growling, yelping, snorting, even peculiar gurgling. You try to calm the animals down, but you only make them more nervous. Suddenly, you spot lights around the nearby living quarters. Could it be possible that someone has overheard the animals' cries? So we have a choice again. You quickly retreat, no point antagonizing the Master of Hounds. Or B, you try to break the padlock to Heinrich and Malcolm's cage and take them away before the keeper catches you. This is probably a really bad series of choices I'm making here, but I don't know, I like the idea of having these pet hounds. So we're going to go with B and try and break the lock. So we go to 13.09. Each hero tests dexterity. Right, so Friedrich has 1 point of morale. So let's see what he gets. Okay, he gets a 1. We add 1 to it, so that's a 2, so he passes. Wilhelm, unfortunately, is at -1 morale. So his dexterity is reduced to 0, so we need a 2 here. Oh, he gets a 3. Right, so we both passed. So, all passed, 13.07. You hit the padlock a few times with a hatchet, managing to break it a moment later. 2 creatures quickly run outside. They dash into darkness, as far away from their tormentors as possible. When you can barely see them, one of the beasts turns back for a moment and makes a strange gesture with its hand. Is it thanking you this way? Saying its goodbyes? No time to think. You run back towards the wall. Each hero gains 1 morale and 2 experience. Oh, that's quite good then, because we put Wilhelm's back up to 0, so he's no longer got those negative modifiers, and we each gain 2 experience, putting Wilhelm on 7 and Friedrich on 5. Right, so that's that done. Now, the thing I'm not sure of is, does the Master of Hounds card go back on there? Or am I only able to speak to him the once? I'm not sure. So I don't think I can go back there again, but maybe those hounds will come up later.
So doing all that did cost us an extra day, and it did also cost us a day to travel here. So we are now on day 15, which means this card is now available. So what we're going to do is we're going to head here, take a look at this, then we're going to head down here, and then we'll probably make our way back, perhaps doing this on the way. So we will move to this next map card. So I will roll to see if we have a road event. And we don't. So I'll reveal the cards. So we'll start with 8. Okay, place. Okay, so place. Location 7, 8, and 9. Oh, okay, so we're in a town. And then place jobs 9 and 13 on location 7. Okay, so we'll do that. So that's our town set up, and we have 2 new jobs up here in the marketplace. And what have we got in this town? We've got marketplace, herbalist, and graveyard. Okay, so we may as well just place ourselves in the marketplace. And then we can have a look at what these 2 jobs are. So job 13. Missing daughter, easy. Our daughter is missing, vanished as if she never existed. She left our home last Sunday, and no one has seen her since. Handsome reward awaits for any person knowledgeable as to her whereabouts. Rudolph Kant. Okay, so play story card 93 face up on location 7. Each hero will gain a leather, 2 mushrooms, and 1 iron. That could be interesting. So we'll place that card, but I don't think we're going to go on it just yet. So we have card 93, which we will place there. We may do that at a later date. And then job 9, lost wagon, easy. Bold adventurers, smart and well armed, wanted for finding lost wares. A loaded wagon got stuck in the marshes. A new horse must be hitched up to it, and the wagon brought back to the town. Helmut Gund. Okay, so if we're interested in this, we'll place S22 on map card 11, so I'll do that in a moment. Each hero will gain 2 cats and 2 iron. That's good, because we could do getting some resources. And 2 cats, that's an okay amount of money as well. So we'll place S22 on map card 11. So S22 goes on there. We are just going to look at the next card, S58, which I probably should have revealed before doing all that, since it's an immediate reveal. Okay, so S58. You spot from afar the man matching Sabine's description. Still, you haven't expected meeting him in such circumstances. Vice is standing with his back against a barrel, surrounded by a bunch of thugs. You approach to check if you have to intervene. 42.04. So, 42.04. So we just have an option straight away. A. Pardon us, but it's our friend. Is there something we need to discuss? Or B. Begone, bastards. Time to return to the pigsty from which you crawled. How can you even think of hurting our noble Vice? Do as we say, not as we do. That's 42.06. So this actually seems like a perfect opportunity to end this and let you guys pick what we are going to do. So I will put it to the vote as usual. And you guys can pick whether we are polite to them or rather demanding of them. So that's going to do it for this episode. And as usual, I hope you are all enjoying this series. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, all the usual YouTube stuff. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.